We are a little under a week and a half away from the 2023 Major League Baseball trade deadline. And believe me, this year is going to be fast. It's going to be furious, and you're going to see plenty of movement. Now, right now, the million-dollar question that is floating around the baseball landscape is, will they or won't they? Will the Los Angeles Angels move on from Shohei Ohtani? Obviously, there are pros to this and there are cons to it like every other trade. But this one may be unlike any deal we've seen in quite some time. This isn't even Juan Soto, folks. Okay, last year we talked about Juan Soto in the same breath because Soto's so young and so damn good right now, and his future just could explode. But we really have never seen a player like Ohtani. Okay, yes, I know people say Babe Ruth. Okay, Babe Ruth was not pitching and hitting like this at the same time. He wasn't. The game was much different then. They would not allow it. In fact, the reason Babe Ruth stopped pitching is because his bat was too damn good. Okay? They didn't want to keep it out of their lineup on a daily basis. So, we're seeing Ohtani just dominate on both sides. I know people sitting there pointing his record, well, 7-5. Look, win-loss record ain't exactly what it used to be, and let's be honest, the Angels aren't exactly the model of consistency when it comes to teams. But you look at just on the pitching. You know, he's got a 3.50 ERA, 139 strikeouts, a 1.12 whip, and 11.9 K9 rate. The guy gets out there and dominates. If he pitched full-time, he'd be a Cy Young winner. No question about it. I mean, right now you could argue he's upper echelon in that. Batting-wise, we already know, 35 homers, 306 average. I mean, this guy just does everything out there that you could ever possibly ask for. Now, it's tough. It is tough. This is not an easy decision for the Angels because Ohtani is that guy. He is that right now once-in-a-lifetime talent. I think he's going to be one that changes the game, and we're going to see more people wind up doing this. In fact, don't be surprised if Paul Skynes of Pittsburgh, their number one pick in this year's draft, winds up becoming a two-way player, and you see more and more matriculate into that because of what Ohtani did. Jock Caglione of Florida could be the latest example in next year's draft of somebody that does it as well. But reality is, though, I mean, look, he is the once-in-a-lifetime first we've seen it. He was the one that, if this becomes a trend, started that trend. And do you want to be known as the owner that traded Shohei Ohtani away? On the flip side of that, though, we don't know what Ohtani's going to do. I mean, I can tell you right now he's going to command at least $45 million a season, and I'm probably lowballing it with that. Is he going to want to spend the last contract of his career and commit to a Angels team that really has not been very good? Yes, they're in competitive range right now. Yes, they're in playoff striking range. But this has really been a mirage, guys. And if you look at this team and how it's constructed, Mike Trout's that dude. Mike Trout is a Hall of Famer. Mike Trout is a generational talent. We won't argue that. But beyond that, what else is there? Not a whole hell of a lot. Their farm system isn't very strong. And if I'm Ohtani, I'm looking at this and saying, look, we're competing for the playoffs right now, but how many years are we going to do this? So can the Angels afford to let him walk away for nothing? That's the million-dollar question right here. And I will tell you, they will absolutely, I can't say completely rebuild their farm, but if you don't think that a team's farm ranking can jump exponentially based off of one trade, look at the Nationals last year after the Soto trade. The Angels, Los Angeles can have that similar effect. They can make a significant uptick in their farm system rankings with this trade. Because I'll tell you right now, even if he is a rental, I think they still could wind up getting far more for Ohtani than what the Padres coughed up for Soto. And that's significant, especially if a team thinks they can re-sign him. If the Dodgers, who I think are the front runners to get him, can strike a deal in place, don't be surprised if they cough up 3 or 4 top 10 prospects right now, and then a couple of, and even in the 12 to 20 range, these are legitimate studs, man. We're not, we're talking guys that in any other farm system would probably be top 3, like DiPaolo. So, wouldn't shock me. Now, right now, here are the, to me, odds-on favorites to get him. And I have one spoiler in there, one sleeper in there. Number one is, as I mentioned, the Los Angeles Dodgers. I think they've got the money to get him signed. I think Shohei likes Southern California, and he really wouldn't have to leave. Maybe he'd have to change area codes. Maybe he'd have to change zip codes. He'd go from Orange County to Hollywood, 31 minutes up, or 31 miles up the road, which I know that's like 7.5 hours on the Pacific Coast Highway. But he could stay in Southern California, could go to the friendly confines of Chavez Ravine, an organization with tons of talent. They've got an amazing farm system. They are built to win right now and for the future, and they've been significantly successful over the last 5-7 years. I think that could appeal to Ohtani, and why that would appeal to the Dodgers. Look, Ohtani appeals to everybody, but let's be frank. They could use another bat in their lineup. They could use somebody like Ohtani with his kind of power and his kind of average. They could put him at the DH. I know JD Martinez is there now, but Martinez is not exactly what you'd call a spring chicken. And I believe he's only signed to a 1-year deal. Pitching-wise, hey, man, Clayton Kershaw's a Hall of Famer, no question. But Clayton Kershaw ain't getting any younger. Walker Buehler's got potential to be really, really good, but Walker Buehler, I believe, had a second Tommy John. How's he going to rebound from that? Is he going to rebound from that? But, even if he does, you got Kershaw for the end of his career. You've got Buehler if he gets healthy. You got Bobby Miller. You got Ohtani. You got Urias, who's solid. That's a hell of a rotation, guys. That is a championship-level rotation. So, to me, this is the most plausible bet. If I were a betting man, I would say the Dodgers are the clear-cut front-runner right now, because I think they could strike a deal that would appease to the Angels. It could give them multiple prospects that could, really make their farm system look pretty damn good, and even some guys that could step in fairly quickly and start. And I think a big thing here is if they agree to take on Anthony Rendon's albatross of a contract, that makes it even more appealing, which the Dodgers, they don't care. Money is no object to them. So I think they're number one clear cut. I know people will say the Yankees, but they're not high on my list. Number two is actually the New York Mets. Another team. We know Steve Cohen is not shy to spend money, okay? We know Steve Cohen wants to make the splashes. He's not willing to sit back and, we'll make these practical moves. No, he wants to pop. He wants to circumstance. He wants to sizzle and the steak. And that's Ohtani. And once again, look, they could use the pitching. Max Scherzer ain't getting any younger, and Max Scherzer may not be with the organization after the deadline. Okay, they could use the pitching. They could certainly use the bat. And they've got the farm system. I know people will sit there and say, well, Logan O'Hoppe. And no doubt, I think O'Hoppe's good. One of the few bright spots that may have a future in that franchise. It's there right now. But, look, Francisco Alvarez, man, you can't turn that down. You can find a way to get a guy like that into your lineup. Brett Baty, who could step in right away. You got one of their shortstops, whether it be Jet Williams or, one of the shortstops that's a top-level guy. They've got so much to offer, it's not even funny. And Cohen, I think, would strike a deal with Ohtani right away if he could. Now, the question is, does Ohtani want to play in Queens? We don't know. Number three, I'm going to put my dark horse up here, and that's the Baltimore Orioles. And people say, Baltimore? But here's the thing. The Orioles have a damn good young team. Okay, Ohtani, I don't know what kind of market size he wants to go to. I mean, I think he'd be okay with Los Angeles, but I think Baltimore might be appealing to them. I think Baltimore is a team that is trending upwards. I think they've got a lot of young talent on that team right now that, he could be the key piece of a dynasty, and they've got some history as well. So it's not like this is an organization that has no history. I mean, you can talk about Cal Ripken. Pitch that to them, success they've had in the past. And again, he could be that key piece. Do the Orioles have the pieces? Absolutely. And I think they could get it without trading Jackson Holiday. I think Jackson Holiday's a no-starter. But I certainly think you could throw in, a player like Colton Cowser, who could start right now for the Angels. You could throw in a player like Colby Mayo. You could throw in, somebody like a DL Hall. I mean, you just look at the Orioles farm system. And if you want a Major League ready right now guy besides Cowser, I wouldn't be surprised if they trade Ryan Mountcastle. Wouldn't shock me at all. There are plenty of pieces I think that Baltimore could throw out there. Connor Nortby is another one that would make them a very appealing target. Now, people are wondering, where do I put the Yankees? Do I put them on this list? Absolutely. But I'd actually put them slightly ahead of Texas. I'd put them about 5 or 6, okay? Just because, bottom line, yeah, they want Ohtani badly. Do they have the pieces, though? Well, let's be honest. Some of their prospects have slumped this year. Their stock may be down a little bit. And the question is, does Ohtani want to play for the Yankees long term? Look, Brian Cashman's not the type of guy, and he's made some boneheaded trades lately. He really has, that have absolutely backfired badly on them, that were really not high risk like this. You're going to have to drop the farm, the sun, the moon, whatever you got to get this guy. Even if that is enough for Los Angeles to say yes, it's no hidden secret that Ohtani is not a fan of the Yankees. And I think there was a famous quote that he said that, look, I'd stay in Japan rather than play for the Yankees. So, again, you go and drop all these prospects and Ohtani leaves at the end of the year. To me, that's disastrous. Now, if the Yankees win a World Series because of it, your guess, maybe it's worth it. But there's my comments. There's my thoughts on Ohtani. Let me know who you think he winds up with in the comment section below, or even if the Angels wind up trading him, because that is no guarantee. Thank you for tuning in. We'll talk soon.